Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you for coming to the opening of the District of Columbia's new Emergency Operations Center. In a few minutes, we'll hear from Mayor Bowser, Secretary Mayorkas, and Administrator Criswell. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about the significance of this event. Now, Mayor, you might not know it, but it was 3 years ago today that you received your first cabinet briefing on what was then called the novel coronavirus. And in the complex and dynamic, unprecedented, and daunting year that followed, our city experienced shutdowns, mass protests, one of the most divisive presidential elections in our lifetimes, tense fall months, and of course, the terrible events of January 6th. We went through so much as a community, as leaders of the city, as a nation, that tumultuous year. And once the dust settled, Mayor, I recall you turned to me and asked HCEMA to reimagine what security looks like in the nation's capital in a post-January 6th environment. What lessons did we learn from 2020 in managing multiple large-scale emergencies? What are the capabilities we need to build going forward? How can we strengthen relationships and coordination with federal homeland security and intelligence partners, with the private sector? This new EOC that we're standing in is part of that answer. This facility is a major milestone in the District of Columbia's efforts to enhance our collective emergency preparedness and response capabilities. It is a central hub for gathering and analyzing vital intelligence and information related to all threats and hazards, including terrorism and natural disasters, and for coordinating the response of multiple disciplines and agencies. Speaking of which, as we gather here today, we welcome representatives from over 24 federal, governmental, private sector, and district agencies. We thank our partners for being here. Your presence is a testament to the strong bonds and shared commitment we have to protecting the residents, visitors, and workers of the nation's capital, the most important city on earth. And I say that with great respect and love for my friends in New York City, Administrator. And to our partners, I would say that in cooperation with and support from DHS and FEMA, we built this facility for you, not just during emergencies or response operations, but also during steady state, for planning meetings, for trainings, exercises, and good old-fashioned collaboration. So please use this space. Let us know if you'd like to host a meeting or training here, or even if you'd like to work here 1 day, 2 days, as many days a week as you would like. I offer all this because without you, our partners, the vision of an integrated, collaborative security framework for the nation's capital will never work. Before I turn it to Mayor Bowser, it's important to remember that this facility didn't design or build itself. I want to thank all of the HCEMA and DGS staff, led by Whitney Bowen and Tony Goodman, as well as Hines and their team of architects and contractors who logged hundreds of hours of painstaking planning and work to design and lay out this facility. I am deeply appreciative of all your hard work and passion for this project. I also want to personally thank Mayor Bowser, City Administrator Donahue, Budget Director Jenny Reed, who were all very patient with me when I routinely came hat in hand requesting more funds for the EOC. And I think, Kevin, I could hear your eye rolls over the phone when I would do that, wherever you are. Finally, we have some former HCEMA directors with us here today. You know, it is humbling to take stock of the fact that we are only temporary stewards of these jobs. And in many respects, we build on the legacies of those who came before us to set up success for those who will come after us. And I hope that the former directors are proud of what their agency has accomplished and will accomplish with this new space. With that, Mayor Bowser, again, thank you for your support for the new EOC, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Let's give a big hand to Director Rodriguez and the entire team at DCHCEMA. We are very proud to welcome everyone to our new Emergency Operations Center. I want to extend a special welcome on behalf of all of us in D.C. To our Secretary for Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas. Please give him a big round of applause. He has a big job, and we're very proud of the work that he's doing. our FEMA Administrator, Deanne Criswell. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you for being here as well. Our Regional Administrator, Mary Ann Tierney, please give her a big round of applause. She has just been incredibly powerful in her leadership and helping us through COVID. So we are just so grateful for all of our federal partners who support the security of our nation's capital and our entire country. I am also very proud of our public safety team who's here, who's led by Deputy Mayor Apia, our city administrator who's here, as well as our fire chief, our assistant chief of police, Director Anderson, Director Spriggs. I see DC Water here. Thank you for being here. And all of our law enforcement partners in the region, including the United States Capitol Police, the United States Park Police, United States Secret Service, and the FBI. As Chris said, we hope that you consider this center your center as well. We will ensure that we have the best technology and the best people, and for all of you all who have supported our events, and that includes everybody I just mentioned, I think you are going to appreciate the space and the accommodations that are intentionally set up to make sure that we can get our work done in an emergency, but that we're also supportive of our human and wellness needs while we're doing it. We learned a lot, certainly, for the past 3 years, and that is that we need to be prepared for anything and everything, whether it's a global pandemic or an emergency at the United States Capitol. We need to be ready to respond, especially here in D.C. And so that means bringing together all of our partners, not just when we're experiencing an emergency, but getting trained and prepared always for what could happen. We know that in this new EOC that there are more places for people to come together. We have 130 seats in the main Situation Room, an increase of 54 seats in the previous EOC. We also have a 40-seat Joint Information Center, or JIC, and a planning section room, a radio room, breakout spaces, and we know another important feature that we have, windows. And important, like when you're spending many, many hours in an EOC, to be able to get some light. This will also be the place where we have our Fusion Center along with our new Protect DC team. And Protect DC is a referral-based prevention program that brings together partners from behavioral health and human services teams, along with law enforcement agencies and other agencies to help assess risk in the community. And since the launch of Protect DC, the team has coordinated across agencies to respond already to nearly 50 referrals and train more than 300 community members. And so coordination is really what we're here to talk about today. And we want to continue to invite you to work with us. Just to give you some sense of the scope of what we're talking about, just last year we activated the EOC 25 times. We support, of course, First Amendment activities on a daily basis. And by creating spaces for an additional 210 liaisons here in person, we know that means better coordination. So it's always better to be prepared, and that is the model that we follow. Some of you have heard me say this before about a space like this. Early on, when I was mayor, I toured our HEC, our Health Emergency Command Center, with our then director, Dr. Nesbitt. And that space is located in North Capitol Street, as that's where we worked from throughout the pandemic. And when I walked in, it's kind of a room like this, the HEC, and I said, wow, that is a lot of space that we're never going to use. And it turns out that that was the place where we relaunched our very successful response to COVID-19. So when we walk around in spaces like this, our hope is that we don't have to use it for a global pandemic or an attack on our capital or any of the emergencies that can happen in big cities around the world. But we know, and what I learned then, that not only did we have the space that we needed, we had an incredibly trained cadre of emergency management professionals and government professionals that got us through it. So I'm proud, and I'm going to speak for you now, Secretary, because I know you're proud that we're investing in the people that protect us. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our Secretary for the United States Homeland Security Agency, Secretary Mayorkas.
Thank you very much, Mayor Bowser. And indeed, we in the United States government are intensely proud of our personnel. And when I say our personnel, I mean the personnel of our partnership. I'm honored to join you all today to celebrate the opening of this world-class facility that will enable us to work seamlessly with our key partners in the District of Columbia. More than 23,000 employees representing every office and agency of the Department of Homeland Security work in the Washington, D.C. area, making it home to the largest concentration of our department's personnel and resources across the country. We in the Department of Homeland Security have not forgotten the commitment we made many years ago to be a part of the Washington, D.C. community. D.C.'s emergency managers, law enforcement officers, and intelligence professionals work alongside members of DHS every day to ensure the safety and security of the district. That close partnership and coordination between DHS and the District of Columbia will strengthen and deepen here at this new facility. This new Emergency Operations Center will host a multi-agency coordination center, including a fusion center and training space for federal, state, and local partners so that we can continue to find new and better ways to work together. This new facility was built in part with more than $4 million in funding from DHS preparedness grant funds. This 42,000 square foot emergency operations center is a shining example how federal and local partners can work alongside and with one another. Our gathering today is also notable because, in addition to marking the opening of this facility today, we are very proud to also announce more than $2 billion in funding for 8 fiscal year 2023 preparedness grant programs that provide critical funding to help state, local, tribal, and territorial officials prepare for, prevent, protect against, and respond to acts of terrorism all across the country. This year, we are expanding the reach of those grants by adding 4 additional urban areas as grant recipients: Austin, Texas, Honolulu, Hawaii, Jacksonville, Florida, and Nashville, Tennessee, in addition to the 36 urban areas we continue to support, bringing the total number of urban areas funded by us to 40, including, of course, the National Capital Region. By funding more urban areas with this year's grants, we are enhancing the resilience of our nation by building new capabilities across the country while we help existing jurisdictions maintain their counterterrorism preparedness response. We are also pleased to announce a significant funding increase for our nonprofit security grant program. After the hostage situation at the Congregation Beth Israel Synagogue in Colleyville, Texas in January of last year, I called on Congress to increase funding for this critical program. Congress responded and increased our nonprofit security program funding by $70 million for fiscal year 2022. This year, Congress provided an additional $55 million increase, bringing the nonprofit security grant program funding total up from $180 million 2 years ago to $350 million this year. That kind of federal support is crucial to help nonprofit organizations across the country make security enhancements to help protect against attacks of all types. We are grateful to Congress for its critical support. We have also prioritized the participation of historically marginalized communities and historically black colleges and universities in this critical program to build their capacity and address an evolving threat environment. The grants also reflect our commitment to ensuring critical support for law enforcement to better understand, recognize, prepare for, prevent, and respond to terrorist activity. Over the past 2 years, we have increased the minimum funding requirement for law enforcement terrorism prevention activities by 10%, ensuring more than $100 million in additional funding is provided to law enforcement across the country. Critically, we need to reach people before they are on the verge of committing violence. And D.C., the District of Columbia, has helped to lead the way with programs like Protect D.C. This program is helping community members identify risk factors and warning signs of potential violence through mobilization to violence training and other measures. In October, Protect D.C. launched a public awareness campaign, including digital message boards across the city, advertising, and a website. It is a key element of the district's threat assessment and management capabilities, for which the district also received a $637,500 targeted violence and terrorism prevention grant last year. A portion of the $1.5 million total it has received from these grants in the last 3 years through the DHS Center for Prevention Programs and Partnership, or CP3, as it is commonly known. This is an example of how these federal and local partnerships can have a meaningful impact and how these grants build capacity in a changing threat environment. This new Emergency Operations Center and programs like Protect DC are powerful examples that show the impact these grant programs are having in our communities, and I'm proud to be here to lift them up alongside our partners, colleagues, and friends here in the District of Columbia. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Deanne Criswell, and I'm the FEMA administrator. And I'd like to just start out by thanking Mayor Bowser, Director Rodriguez, and the Secretary, and all of the DCH FEMA staff for your commitment and your persistence in making sure that this happened. This type of an environment, this type of a facility is so critical to making sure that we can bring all of those partners together, as you heard the mayor talk about, to make sure that they can work side by side when we're responding to the emerging threats that we are facing today. I am incredibly impressed by what I have seen already. I was able to do a tour and walk around the facility prior to this press conference, and it is truly remarkable on how they have created an entire facility to support and expand when an incident happens. It's not just the Emergency Operations Center. They've even designed all of the office space to be expanded and utilized during a response and the interagency coordination of an event. That is innovation. That is ingenuity. That is really incredible to think about how we can use everything that we have around us so we can scale our operation. But they also took the people. They kept the people in mind, right? They created wellness spaces for the staff because we know the problems that we are solving, the problems that we are working to resolve can create additional stress on our responders that are here working side by side. And so these wellness spaces are very thoughtfully done and are going to be able to create that environment so those that are coming here can work and they can have that space where they can also take care of themselves. I think that's so important and really a model that the rest of the nation can follow on. For many of our emergency managers across the country, our Emergency Operations Center, it's really our second home, right? This is where sometimes we sleep at night. Sometimes we come together for training, as you heard. This is an environment where we bring all of our partners together to make sure that we are ready to respond to the next disaster or the next event, and our communities are prepared for that. It's where we bring everybody together. It's multidisciplinary, it's multi-agency, it's from across government, it's our nonprofit partners, it's our private sector partners at times, a place where we can bring them all together to have those conversations, to work side by side and solve the tough problems that we're facing and keep our communities safe. Whether it means we're preparing for special events to hundreds of thousands of people, or managing the multi-year COVID emergency that you heard, it's our business to have an EOC like this to make sure that we can bring these people together. You know, one of the other things that I heard as we were walking around is they had 3 principles, guiding principles, as they were developing this, and that was functionality, flexibility, and wellness. And I think from what I had just said and what you heard from Mayor Bowser, this facility definitely demonstrates all 3 of those guiding principles. And as you heard the Secretary say, it's through our different grant programs, our Emergency Management Performance Grant Program and our Urban Area Security Initiative Grant Program, that FEMA was able to be part of this process, and we were proud to support and utilize that funding to help bring HCMA's vision to a reality. What I saw as I walked around was state-of-the-art technology, engaging spaces that are going to foster this integration, this communication and collaboration, and where the EOC and the Fusion Center will be able to come together to help continue to meet the threats and the hazards that we're facing today. And as our threat landscape continues to grow, it's incredibly important that our local partners have modern facilities just like this to make sure that we can work to support and keep our communities safe. Mayor Bowser, Director Rodriguez, you are leading the way in how emergency managers and our public safety community can come together, and when they have the tools to do their job, they're going to be able to do their best work, again, to keep the nation's capital safe. I'd like to thank Mayor Bowser and the Secretary and the entire team at DCHCMA for leaning into this collective project, this collective partnership, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Hopefully more in training than in response, but happy to participate in all of the above. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Administrator. It's such a pleasure to be here with you all today. My name is Brooke Pinto. I am the Ward 2 council member, and I have the privilege of representing downtown DC, where the National Mall and the White House are, and so we have a lot of events and First Amendment activities that affect our constituency. And what we know about DC residents is they like to be part of the solution and involved wherever they can be. And so much of the work that goes on with HCMA and our federal partners and our first responders happens behind the scenes, happens without a lot of fanfare or credit. And it's such integral work to our safety, to the sense of well-being and security that is so important, not only to DC residents every day, but in our nation's capital. And I am just thrilled to be here today to celebrate the opening of this new space and congratulate you for all of the hard work and all of the continued hard work, because we in this city are so grateful for all of you and the work that you do every day to keep all of us safe and be so proactive in your intervention efforts to do so so professionally. So thank you for all that you do, and looking forward to a lot of good work in this space.
Thank you. And I believe we're going to cut the ribbon next. All right.
That guy.